メキシコのティファナで強制送還された退役軍人を取材した。その時に彼らの活動を支援しているという弁護士がたまたま来ていた。シカゴ出身のダニエル・ペレスである。彼自身がイラクやアフガニスタンの戦場に行った退役軍人だった。ダニエルが彼らの活動をサポートしているのは、自身が PTSD 心的外傷後ストレス障害になったためだ。退役した後に社会に適応する苦労を誰よりも理解している。
I am a United States veteran. I was formerly a staff sergeant in the U.S. Army. I worked in the legal profession of the U.S. military for 15 years. Right now, I work at a law firm in Chicago. And my job was a legal person, but also, too, my job was to go out and do investigations with the soldiers when you're looking for terrorists. And then also, too, the result is soldiers die. And this was my new experience to it. And so my job is then to assist in the investigation of the death of my friend. And I still wear this bracelet, which is Staff Sergeant Frank T.I. He was not a U.S. citizen. He got his citizenship the day before we went to Iraq. And what happened was, on the last mission, before he was going to take holiday, he said on the radio, "Good job. I will see you people in 3 weeks. Let's clean up. Let's go home. Thank you for everything." And then 5 minutes later, a bomb explodes. He loses his legs. He dies. He never returned to the United States as a United States citizen. I'm 40 years old. I still live with my parents. And my parents still help me because, and I have no children. My father actually will drive me once a week to my doctor's appointment for psychiatry because I do not want to drive myself. And I want to cancel the appointment, so I'll go next week. My father, who is 65 years old, says, "No, get in my truck. I will drive you." And so we drive an hour to the doctor's office so that way I can get my treatment. And I feel better after, but sometimes you lose faith, you lose hope. And some people do not have the strong family that I do that continues to help me every day.
戦地から戻ってきた軍人は市民社会への適応に苦労している。事実、若い退役軍人の自殺率は増えており、ホームレスになる退役軍人も少なくない。ホームレスに住居などを支援している NPO のトップは次のように語る。
A lot of homeless veterans just become homeless how any other person does. They may lose their job, they may have a mental illness, they may have a substance abuse disorder, and which eventually causes them to not be employed, not being able to pay rent. And then there's also specific to veterans. There are some veterans who did experience trauma in the military. And we've seen that a lot with veterans who are coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan. There's a much higher prevalence of post-traumatic stress disorder in the newer veterans. We've seen an issue with veterans who have, instead of going to college, joined the military. And of course, when you're in the military, they provide a lot of training, a lot of hands-on experience. And then when you leave the military and you try to get a job in the civilian world, yes, in many cases, they just see you as a high school graduate. We have a veteran that we work with who was deployed to both Iraq and Afghanistan, and he was a pharmacist and he was a medic. And so when he came back to the United States, he wanted to be like an EMS, an emergency service worker, and he wasn't able to because you have to be, the military training doesn't count. And of course, being in combat as a medic, you're getting much more experience than you would in a classroom.
ホームレスの元軍人を支援するのに重要なのは住まいの提供だ。住むところが安定しなければ仕事探しなど次のステップに進むことはできない。米中西部カンザスシティのベテランズコミュニティプロジェクトは軍隊で使うような小さな家を作り無償で貸し出している。この団体の創設者の一人ブランドン・ミクソンも退役軍人である。高校卒業後空軍に配属されたが怪我をしたため軍隊を辞めこの団体を設立した。
If you look right here, there's actually 13 houses. They're roughly about the same size, but all different. See, the roof pitch is different, the amount of windows is different. And right here in these middle units you see right behind me, these are actually our family units. So we actually have families in there as well. So I came home and my parents looked at me and I was just their little boy, right? They don't know what I went through. They wouldn't relate to me. And so I struggled a lot myself with suicide and depression and a lot of that because nobody related to me. And that's when I found my buddies here at Veterans Community Project. We relate a lot. We went through a lot of the same stuff, right? So we helped each other with the transition. When you go through high school, right? You get out of high school and go move into your own place. You don't know what to do because your parents have always supported you. So imagine that, but being 40 years old, right? Getting out of the military, you've always had somebody supporting you. Now that you got out, you don't have anybody supporting you. Well, what do? You've always been told what to wear, how to live your life, how to spend your money, and what to eat, right? Now you get out, you don't have anybody telling you what to do, and that's the issue with the transition out of the military. You don't have that, right? The tiny house concept actually comes from a military, right? In the military, we stay in barracks, B huts, stuff like that. And so our thought process is we take the tiny house concept, put them back in that, so it puts them back in that military mentality, right? And then help them with their transition out of that mentality back into civilian life.
この敷地には現在13棟の住宅が建てられている。今後はさらに36棟が建設される予定だ。住み心地は上々なようだ。
Call this tiny house Big Guns. Welcome to the crib. So what we did was we wanted him to stay in it, right? We've never actually laid our head where the veterans lay their head, right? And so we were trying to figure out, okay, how can we make this better? And so Brian decided to stay about a month in this to see how we can make it better, right?
It's definitely a quality home. It's built well. It has all the amenities someone would need to kind of get back on their feet in order to transition into some sort of permanent housing. All the residents, while they're here, they don't own the homes. They don't pay rent on the homes. The organization owns them because it's all transitional. We all want somebody to move in, stay for a little, and then find a better spot. So if we were taking rent money, it would inhibit their ability to find permanent housing monetarily. If someone says to me they want to stay here forever, that means that they have some other underlying issues that need addressed, right? Because the ultimate goal should always be to, move into your own space, your own sense of ownership around your surroundings.
It unfortunately is sometimes discouraging for veterans to try to go get jobs, right? We're up against these people that have 4-year and 6-year degrees that are competing for the same job with us. Well, I might have been in the military for 6 years. And a lot of times it's like, are you telling me that I'm only good to flip burgers because I don't have a college education, So it's hard to compete. I think the U.S. has done a bad job about that. I think we need to do a better job about experience, right? Experience, I think, to me, plays a whole different key than say, college degree or college knowledge. So.
The program is built around the needs of the individual person, right? So some people it's appropriate to say, well, there's nothing holding you back from getting a job, so you need to get a job sooner than later. Other people we can say, well, you need resume work, you need job training, and then we find you a job. So we really try to tailor it to the individual. When you haven't done something in so long, when you haven't been actively employed, when you haven't done that 9 to 5 and been stable, I think you can start to doubt your ability to do it, right? So this is showing them you still have that. It's still there. We're just going to kind of re-energize you, show you that you can do it. We're going to help you do it, and eventually you'll be working independently.
戦争を始める前は誰も10年以上それが続くとは考えない。始める前から帰還兵のことを考えることもない。世界最強の軍事力を持つアメリカ。だが一人一人の兵士は生身の人間であり、それぞれに感情を持っている。市民生活への適応に苦しむ彼らの姿を見ていると、心が壊れた無数の屍がこの国を支えるということに気づく。